Hello, hello, hello! Coming up on today's episode, we get started on our ore industry. We create a distribution centre, and we bring schools to Oakerton. All this and more on episode 15 in Ashbury Dales on Snapdragon Cities. So where do you find us? Well, you find us at a thriving train station in what will soon become Upper Turnwater. So we finished this at the end of last episode, and it's going really well, actually. It would seem like our town has been desperately waiting for this or something like it, and it's thriving. We're back here, though. It was pointed out in the comments a few times that I've made a significant mistake with my layout in this car park. Now, mistake one is the car park seems remarkably unnecessary because we've allowed parking on the roads, and so people are parking on the roads and leaving this entire car park empty. I promise you, by the time we're done with Upper Turnwater, there will be plenty more reasons for people to park in here. But most people are coming over and getting the bus, and thank you very much to them. But the problem is the disabled access parking bays. They're at the back. Now, I know that they're not supposed to be at the back, and you know that I know they're not supposed to be in the back. So why are they there? Well, I put them in the wrong place, and we're going to fix it. There we go. Problem solved. Right, so we can get on with a few other fixes. Now, the buses are one of them, actually. So the buses here get very busy when trains arrive. I think we're getting some outside tourism that's bringing people in as well. But this seems quite popular. That's fine. What we noticed when we were doing the tours for the last episode is that coming up and down from Oakerton, there tends to be quite a consistent flurry of people. Now, I could continue to pretend that it's only students living in this student accommodation and that these are all people walking down to back from the university. But as you will have noticed in the tour for the last episode as well, it's not. So most people here are like Carol here. She resides at the Barlow residence, which is up here in Oakerton, but she's come down all this way to get the bus to go to M&H Clothing, which is actually the 7 Stars all the way over here in Whitehall Village. She didn't want to come down to the university to do that. She wanted to get on a bus near here and make her way over to where she was trying to get to. We don't have a public transport hub anywhere in our city at the moment, so we lack a kind of central point for people to go to get buses from there. We should probably just put a little shuttle bus from around Oakerton to down here. It does seem like people are able to successfully make the walk, but if we had a bus that went to here, that bus could also go to Loughborough up here, and I'm certain that would make our residents very happy. So we will very, very quickly put a bus network around this area and then hook it into above and below so that it gives our people a way in and out, not on foot and not in their car. Right, so there's the ones around Oakerton created, and you'll remember the way that we do things here is that we create the bus network around the area that we want to make sure is well served, and then we find a point from which we can connect to the rest of the build. And so we want to get this somewhere into Loughborough. We could just connect here. This seems like a very strange point to create a connection. But if we look and start dragging this line to places where there are other connections, the bus starts taking quite a long way round. We might just have to become comfortable with that. That is the point of this line, to take people to other parts of our city. So maybe we connect that there like that, and then we can do the same. I think it would be quite a bit easier down here to just find somewhere. There seems reasonable enough. Right, let's not do it to the one that they can already show that they can walk to, because they've already shown they can walk to that. Let's do it to the next one. That will be fun. There we go. Right, so a couple of bus lines in there. We should probably just check to see which bus and how many buses it is putting on there. So this will be Oakerton Local. There we go. So 10 of the wrong bus. So let's find a bus that we want in here. Let's have an Enviro 500 line coloured right-hand drive bus. like that. 10 is without question too many, so is 9. So let's try 5 and let's see what that does. There we go. I'm sure in the fullness of time that will prove remarkably useful. The other thing we need to bring our attention to before we get into the proper part of our build is our city vitals. So we are approaching a problem with our garbage processing. We are still some distance away from being at problem with our electricity and water supply, but we will continue to keep building, and so we will keep an eye on those. Maybe we need to do something. Maybe we don't. Let's see where we are by the end of the episode, perhaps. But garbage, we do need to do something about. We have a small hub of things starting to generate over here. I don't think we've unlocked any more interesting ways to deal with our garbage just yet. I don't think we want an incinerator, so perhaps we'll just use another recycling plant. If we're doing this, it's tempting to give it a road to work on, so let's do that. Let's take a look. We do still want for our power to appear to be connected to the recycling center. Let's see how that's landed in here. We'll straight through a bin. That doesn't seem exactly how we would want it to be. If we had it coming through this side, it would be going through there. We kind of really did want that going into the side. I wonder if there's there are any building techniques we could use to prove that. We can get rid of that, I think, and then maybe the best way to deal with that is yeah, that's good. Right, done. So that's that problem solved. Our garbage processing status is improved. This is all working fine. We fixed that in the last episode. We did also unlock crematoriums in the last episode, but we'll get to that as we get through the later parts of the build. I think we can move on to the first part of our proper build in this episode. So then, approximately 12,000 years ago, we drew these yellow roads in this area and said, this will be our ore industry. And I'm sure you've all been waiting with bated breath in anticipation of a fantastic quarry that we would end up creating over here, as yet untouched. So this episode, we are going to break ground on our quarry, on Ashbury Dale's first quarry. And so it's just so necessary now that we've got such industrial demand, because we've brought in some, nearly 7,500 people into Oakerton. They need jobs, and we are training them up at Ashbury Poly to become various kinds of tradespeople, and so we need to put a quarry in here. So we'll do that. I can't remember whether we actually did an industry area here. We did. So let's have a think about how we would want for people to be getting into and out of this quarry. It will generate some cargo. It might be tempting at some point to pop another junction into the motorway here, but I think we'll need for that to be a solution to a problem rather than something we do in anticipation. So likely a lot of the traffic's going to come through here. Maybe that will be a problem, because I can see the death symbol popping up here. So I wonder actually if before I get to that, would you forgive me all if I just found space for a crematorium in here? Wonderful. So that was actually quite easy. All we had to do was put it on top of another building, and the problem was solved. So there we go. Right, this will be our way in for most of the traffic, cargo and employees and workers traffic. So that is definitely going to be a problem, but we'll let it become a problem and solve it once it is still recognised. Still people driving past Ashbury Polytechnic going, oh, Ashbury Poly, nice. We'll get to work on getting that to level 3 soon. Right, but let's find a way in. Let's choose a road. Here we go. So we're going to choose a 4-lane road with a median. I think we are going to want this to feel like this is designed for quite a bit of traffic and probably not much parking, because we don't want quarry vehicles careening into parked cars. So let's see what this road looks like. We'll just draw something out here, and we'll get involved in the road and take a look. Yeah, this is going to be fine. So I wonder what happens to that median if we create a junction. Do we get a gap through the median, or do we need to be? Yeah, perfect. Wonderful. So we can see that we've got some trees that are going to be going through here. That must mean that we've got tree anarchy on. I wonder then if we give this a wiggle with the move it mod, whether they will disappear, and they do. So let's undo that. Wonderful. Can we do that again over here? We can. Excellent. And so maybe then this will serve us as a good enough start. No reason why that road couldn't come out at the end there. Some smaller roads will be needed for some of the smaller buildings we'll be putting in here. So let's, and maybe actually for our main building, we would not necessarily be against parking on the road for it. The employees will have to park their cars somewhere. And then without any or much further ado, the ore industry main building can go there. And there we go, we're off and running. So we can now place a small ore mine, some sand storage and an ore grinding mill. We'll do that to access and store the raw materials and convert them into something which will later be turned into goods that we can sell to our citizens or export. So anything we can do to the way that this area looks, we should probably just pop a little fence around this. There we go, that should do nicely. We will get some power and water over here. Maybe we do just want to bring that fence down the other side of the road as well. Wonderful and perfect in every way. There we go. Right, so we are off and running. So that's our main building, but I can't imagine we'll be spending too much time thinking or worrying about that. Let's start thinking about where we want the roads to come in along here. Well, let's go with one big straight road for now, and let's see what that does for us. There'll be some terrain here that we need to contend with, but also it is a quarry, so we might even want to create some terrain for our mines to exist in. I think for now, let's give some thought to that. There we go. We have an area that we would like to quarry. Let's make it look a little bit more like that. Yeah, okay, for now. Not what we want, but what we'll settle for in the short term. How will we get traffic in and out of this area? Well, it seems like this is probably the closest to a sensible way in. And then if we get this to... It is a bit of a strong slope, but we are trying to get to what is essentially or was underground previously. So so I'm happy enough with that. That feels like it would need to be like that. Let's just then continue this road out here a little bit further and start thinking about how we want to lay this section out. There will be quite a lot going on here eventually. I think in the short term, not quite as much. And I don't want to fill up our space with too many small mines when we know that we're going to end up with large ones. So let's see. We've left enough space there, so maybe we'll just we'll pop a couple in here. Let's get amongst them and see how they look. Not a huge amount going on here, it would seem. So we'll let this extractor do what it's doing. Maybe we just fence these off. And perhaps also we can pop a container or two down just outside of the area of the mine there, just to give it a sense that other things happen just outside of this fence. I don't know quite why they'd be laid out like this, but they are, and so we're happy enough with that. The hint of detailing without actually doing it. There we go. Right, so we could let that run in a second, but where are they going to store the things that they get? Well, it would seem that we wouldn't want to do all of that underground, and that we could use some area on the surface for that. Let's do some work here on the... Sorry, is there a node in the middle? So what we'll do, we'll make all of this go to the height in the center. We will fix the surrounding terrain, and this will be where we store our ore. We've got that, and then we're going to want to process the things that we create. Maybe we use some space on the other side of our ore industry here. That will give us an excuse to create another way in to this area, which might be nice for people. So let's come straight out to here, and the first processing that we do is to create metal, I think. Let's see, yeah, metals. So the ore grinding mill is not a huge building. So we create space for one or two of those here. That will work. And then a warehouse to store what they produce. We'll set this to empty on metals because we're not doing anything else with the metals at the moment. So somewhere to put them. We'll set this to, this balanced is fine for this for now. We're not trying to import anything, but hopefully we'll not need to. We do want to create a connection between these 2 points. I wonder actually if we can use our network multi-tool for that. I wonder what happens if we create a connection from this segment to this segment. We don't want to do it like that. That's because there's something, there we go. Just a straight road. I suspect I would have been capable of doing that myself. There we go. Right, okay, so we have our main building, a couple of mines, a raw material storage area, a couple of metal, ore grinding mills, and a warehouse. How's the gradient over here? Not without need for further attention, it would seem. So let's just make sure these are all at a reasonable height, and we can do some spreading or smoothing of the land in the area. There we go. Fantastic. Which does then beg the question, what are we doing with this road around the outside? Nothing so far, and it's not obvious to me that we will be doing anything immediately with it either. So perhaps, there we go. And we can then try and remove this slightly odd area there. We've made it much worse. We made it much, much worse. So our brush size was just far too large there. I wonder if we undo. There we go. And do we want to loop this road into this road? For the sake of it looking nice, we will. We can then use our new favorite tool. Seems not the best way of doing that, but it's my favorite tool, and it's what my favorite tool said to do. And so it is therefore what we have done. Right, we're going to need power and water all over the place here. So let's find where we will plumb in from and get that done. There we go. That might be sufficient now for us to run the game and see what happens here. Do we have anything other than just concerns with lack of raw materials over here? Those power lines definitely haven't been put in correctly, have they? That looks terrible. Let's fix. There we go. Not a huge amount better, but sufficiently better for us to not concern ourselves with it anymore. This is quite a bumpy area, but I think we'll be fine. Let's see if we need to do any preventative traffic measures here. I think that will do. There we go. And this looks fun for the time being, doesn't it? These guys seem to be enjoying their day, so we'll let them continue. We'll see how the traffic ends up turning out here. But I think in the short term, we just need to let this run and do its thing. We will need a better name for it than ore. But perhaps we'll have a think about that in due course. Let's see. Not inundated with traffic or activity in the short term. Maybe we've run the game faster. We would. But we're going to actually, instead of that, let this do what it's doing for a little while and come back to it later in the episode once we've attended to something else that we need to make sure we get right. So raise your hands if you remember how proud we were when we created our first industry area over here. Now, the success of this area has risen and fallen over the course of the episodes that we've had so far, but I fear the end is near for this industry. Now, you're thinking, how could it possibly be? We've got such high industry demand, but we would like for our ore and farming areas to be the bulk of our industrial workforce. And to help facilitate that, we are going to convert this area into a distribution center. There are a series of fantastic assets on the workshop that use a frustrating spelling of center, which they act as warehouses, but they've got warehouses with train stations attached, and these I think will be fantastic for the success of our commercial industry in general, our industry in general. They do provide some jobs, and but I think this will be far more valuable for us than this industrial area. So we are going to repurpose this entire area in this episode, and that will mean to some significant extent, in fact, just tearing it all down. Not everything though. There's a fire station here we want to keep. There's some recycling centres that we want to keep. I think this is also our bus depot, yeah. So this area here we want to keep, and our power and water here we want to keep as well. Everything else I think is going to go. We are probably going to end up latching into this train line here, either this side or this side of the line and of the roundabout and the bridge, and turning this whole area into something altogether quite different. And so it seems, in fact, that we might actually be able to just connect it in on the one side, which is fantastic. You know, it probably isn't long enough for a train. It probably is too sharp of a bend, but I think we're going to live with it, and I think that allows us to move on. What we're not going to do is worry about how close this train track is to the road. I think that just increases the likelihood of some fun things happening here, which we might want to take a look at. But if it does seem problematic, we'll get there. I can see that it very clearly would be a problem, but I'm going to try not to worry about it too much. Also, just to explain, our rail infrastructure on this map is using these high-speed embankment lines, and they don't connect perfectly with a standard railway line. So we've got this slight awkwardness here, which I think I'm comfortable with. I think it's okay to just say, yes, the train track at the cargo station is slightly different to the rest of the track, and there's a point where it changes. Maybe we notice it in the long term, maybe not. It's clearly very different. But what we can do now is start taking a look at some of these distribution center assets. So these, I think, are fantastic. So we have a series of them in here. So some of them are corner assets, so we'll pop a couple of these corner assets down so that we can take a look at them. You'll see as well that they've got they are branded. So we get some CIM, which apparently stands for Cargo in Motion, but I think it's just the generic City Skylines brand, unless it's a logistics and transport distribution company that I'm not familiar with. But DHL, DPD, I'm very familiar with. You've got FedEx, GLS and UPS as well, that provide these corner units, which are warehouses that we can set to whatever we want, right? So we would select some appropriate resource, let's say maybe it'd be commercial zoned goods. We'd leave it to balanced, and that would then act as a commercial goods warehouse. As well as the corner units, there are a series of sizes and styles of other types of warehouse that all sort of fit together nicely and look very similar and would act in the way that a distribution center might. So you can imagine some enormous series of lorries parking up here, being loaded up and driving away. So we're kind of going to fill this area with these. It's going to look, I think, not super inspiring, but I think it's going to look exactly like a distribution center. Right, well, let's see what we've managed to achieve here. It's actually quite a lot, I think. So so we have reworked the way in here. So rather than coming straight over this roundabout from this direction, now it's a left turn or straight over if you're coming from Whitehall. Up a slight incline. We'll say slight and not check it because it's just slightly more than slight. And then you are in distribution land. So we can see here GLS have got the prime corner unit here on the way in. A couple of large warehouses here. These are all set to commercial zoned goods. And so we'll see all of this up here. FedEx occupying this corner. So you can imagine these being some small number of like corporate offices or something in there. The trains will end here. We did run a fence along the side of this road here, but I'm comfortable enough with it being here. DHL, UPS, and then DPD and Cargo in Motion taking up the corner spots in this area. You're thinking, why have you put down some dead trees? Well, they're dead because this area is polluted, and these will become a monument to the resurrection of this part of town. Eventually, the pollution will go away, and we will find that these bloom again. We have some broken bus lines. I'm not 100% sure that these will fix themselves when we run the game. The way to find out is by running the game. And let's run it nice and fast. Let's see if the game can work out what to do while we realise that we didn't quite have water as far as we thought we had water. Let's fix that. There we go, and that works fine. It does seem like our bus line here is not going to be able to solve itself. So let's see. There we go, done. So lines 1 and 2 in our city have been now replaced, and we brought them over to the distribution area over here. We've got a small turnaround here for them, which we will just now convert into some bus roads for them and make this seem a bit more sensible. And there we go. So do we want to, let's, I suspect we've got at least too many buses on here. Let's take a quick look. There we go. That will be much better, I think. Right, so yeah, car parks over here. Don't know why we've got two. Let's imagine that one is for management and one is for workers, because why not? We could do a bit of decorating here, I think. Let's see if we can pop some bushes and some trees down to make this area seem a little bit more welcoming for employees. And there we go. While we were putting some trees down, our industry has reached level 2. So we'll head back over there in a moment and see what we can't do to get that looking a little bit better. Car park is looking now quite beautiful. The bus route in looking again quite beautiful. Blocked from the trains here. Haven't seen any trains come in yet. Haven't really been looking for it. Marvelous. Let's leave this here and head back over to our ore industry and see what we can do to increase the level. Here we go. Well, things have happened over here. So we can see we've filled up our stand storage area. These things seem to be working absolutely fine as well. Let's see what else we can do down here though. There we go. That feels a bit more plausible, a bit more realistic to me. I think this is much more how an area like this might look. These buildings come with the trees in them, but I think are polluting their own trees. I'm not 100% sure. There's maybe just another building around here that's polluting them, but quite odd. Everything else seems fine. I'm going to leave the rest a little bit more bare because I know that we're going to be doing more to this area. So I don't want to over landscape an area that that we know we are going to be de-landscaping as soon as we get the opportunity to. We will just try and predict where some of our connections will be, though. And I think this is working quite well so far. We've got a lot more to go in this area. I think the faster we run the game, the more likely we are to get there. Let's have a look at this. We have enough workers. It is now just a case of ticking up to the correct number of resources produced. That will happen very quickly, I imagine. And again, I'll hesitate from doing too much more decorating in this area because I will want to leave space for lots more things that are coming in here. But I think for now, this is looking pretty much how it should do. So let's move on. Right, so here we are then. We're back over in Oakerton, and we've got a few things that we need to do. This area did, we finished it off, and I think it looks fantastic. And let's keep the game running. So it is working. It is buzzing. It is thriving. These buses that we've got going around here are doing a marvelous job of helping people get around and about, and everything seems to be working really nicely. It won't be forever. We are missing a few services. We've got a lot of people in here. So we're going to make a few changes, get some schools in here, because I think it'd be really important to make sure that the youngsters in the area don't just have to wait until they get to university before they've got convenient access to education. That is going to mean just a couple of small changes. I think we're going to use this area here. We could use some space over here. It's completely plausible, actually, that this is the better place for the high school. And so we might find space to put a high school at the back here, but the elementary school I would like to be in this kind of area over here, I think. And so what I'd like to do is just make a small change to the roadway network and see if I can get this road to come in here. By doing that, that would make this the primary entrance, but better access to the commercial stuff that's going on over here, which is just pubs, but that's fine. So we'll get this line to come into here. We'll make sure that doesn't interfere too much with the bus network and all of that, and protect some space over here to put down a school. So we'll spend a few moments getting those things right. We'll get the junior school, the primary school, elementary school in here first, and then we'll regroup and talk about where we're going to put the high school. Right, so there we go then. We've had to do quite a bit to the landscape here. So this is now a cliffside school, it would seem. We've done our best to protect the students from it. We've got trees in front of a fence, in front of some bigger trees to either mask or protect them from things here. We care less about them by the time they get over here. If they're going to be so unruly that they run over to start playing football over here, they deserve to have rocks fall on them. And then I imagine the caretaker will look out from the shed area here and laugh at them as they get hit by falling rocks and stones. But there we go. That's how we do things in Oakerton. So we've reused an asset from somewhere else in the build actually, but I really like this one here. So we've put it in we've given it as much green space as we had, but we're fine with that. We've put a bus route actually into here, so much easier to get here by bus than it is by anything else. So we'll see if people realise that and take advantage of it. Car park, again, surrounded by some trees, integrated into the school build. So I think that will work lovely. Let's play it and make sure. I should be close enough to everything here for power and water to jump across, so I'm not too worried about that. So that looks great. Let's now see if we can do something similar. Perhaps, where would it be? Either in this area or this area. This is definitely just on a slope. This is on a bit less of a slope, so maybe we aim for it over here. Is there anywhere better for us to do that? Well, we could knock down this bush and occupy quite a bit of space over here, actually, couldn't we, with the school? That's on a slope as well. But I bet we could make this look like it was better integrated over here than we would anywhere else. Yeah, let's build it off here. I think that might look quite nice, and that might actually then tempt us into making another connection over here. Now that we're building out our industry to over here, if anyone in Oakerton works over there, they can save themselves a journey. That's got to be the right idea. Right, let's do that. So there'll be some earthwork here to get us ready to go, some roads that we'd create, a school that we put down, some decoration that we'll do. Let's get to work. Now, I don't know about you, I feel like we're getting better at this. Like, I really like how this has come together. So we've got, again, another one of these Toronto schools. This one's a new one. But we've managed to give them a huge amount of space. We've got a fence that goes all the way around the outside. Look at this giant field they've got here. They've got a few small football pitches here, some hills, some trees, good access, left, right, and centre. This feels really good. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. We snuck a few small playgrounds in here to get the power to jump across. We put the water in, and look, they're loving it. What we're noticing is that actually so helpful are these football pitches for overall community well-being and happiness, that people are just coming from all over the place to come and hang out in these football pitches. So more power to us. Well done to the fine builders at Oakerton Secondary School. And we had to turn this into a park to get these assets to land in here. They needed to be either roadside or on a park. I didn't want to knock down the fence to put the football pitch in, so we turned it into a park, put a path around here, and plopped the pitches in. Some space for a few more trees here. Good news is our forest brush is back. It wasn't working at the start of the episode, but nothing much but a restart later, and here we are off and running. Maybe a small row of trees along here would not go amiss either. Let's quickly just sneak these in. I suspect it will still be using the one from, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Wonderful. There we go. So that is 2 schools over here in Oakerton, which might be about what we need in terms of ways to increase the land value in this area. Very happy with how this has turned out. We've got some space here that we can use for something. Who knows what that will end up being. What anyone who's watched the future episodes will know. So anyone watching this series in reverse, already knows how it's all going to turn out. Please leave a note in the comments to let me know how we end up using this space in here. That would really help me out. Wonderful. So how are we looking now in Oakerton? We've got some spaces where maybe just a few, now that our forest brush is working, where we might treat ourselves to just a little bit of increased greenery in the area, just to give the place a sense of place. So maybe we'll fill that in and see if we remember when that comes up. Is this too many trees? This feels like this is too many trees around here. I don't think it'd be quite as dense as that. Maybe again, just the suggestion of green space around here seems fine. And again, just coming off the side of the school there, I think looks fantastic. Again, maybe we can replace not what we knocked down because it's not in the same place, but some trees there and here, I think would be lovely. There we go. And actually, we've sort of almost accidentally increased our integration here. So we've got this road now that we put in just so that we could put a school down, but we ended up doing quite a bit of silliness with the roads around here. The asset that we chose had parking spaces all over the place, so we just thought rather than put it on the side of the road, let's put some specialised roads in there. These parks are busy as well, aren't they? I tell you what, Oakerton is thriving. Really, really like the way that this town has turned out. Let's just get our buses to stop at the school as well. I suspect they will thank us for that. And then what's it doing? It's going... So it's catching it on the way back up from there and coming around here. I bet if we just put these here, take several meters off the journey. Yeah, that seems good. And then if it's going around, yeah, it would go up there, around there to there. So I'm comfortable enough with all of that. Have we messed anything up for anyone? No, I don't think so. I think we're happy with all of that. Right, so what's happening here? Let's have a look. We maybe need to put just not enough buyers for products. Well, I'll tell you who will buy your products. So a warehouse. There we go. So we've done quite a bit of just decal spamming here. We've given ourselves another level. We'll work up to there at some point, I'm sure. Some more cliff edges and some dirt all over the place. We made this place look a bit messier. There's plenty more to do here, but we've got so much more ahead of us in terms of our leveling. Off camera, we did actually level up to level 3. So we are starting to make money in here now. We're still importing a bit too much. So we do need to get some other larger processing, some other extraction units down here. What's your problem? Not enough raw materials? Well, there are plenty going around, so I suspect you would benefit, sir, from trying harder. Right, now that we've actually made that level there, I wonder actually whether this road can come out of here. Right, so that gets out of here and does a bit of the work we were doing with terracing, but not in such a way as we would worry. This can come out of here then and connect to that. We're not too worried about how it looks because we know we are going to use a range at line and get that in there like that. We know as well that we are going to use a bit of slope from there to there, soften that piece out, and we are delighted with that. These guys then will be able to find plenty of the raw materials that they need at our extraordinarily full center over here, so they definitely are not trying hard enough, but we will let them continue in their search for raw materials. They will find them. Right, one more big extraction unit I think then is what we need to finish us off in here. There we go, that one will do. It is a suspicious mound that it leaves there, but we do kind of need to finish up what we're doing here, so we'll leave that there. We probably will find a way to make this look a bit like it's like they're not recovering some dinosaur fossil, which is what it looks like here, but we'll let them get on with it. These guys will stop complaining soon. Maybe if we just go faster, they will complain less. I reckon that might be us done, you know. So we've got our ore, our distribution and our schools done. So let's follow some fine folks around our city and take a look at what we've done. Well, and there you have it. Episode 15 of Ashbury Dales in the books, and we can see the train here is working fantastically well now. We've got trucks flying out of it off to move things often to just other parts of the distribution centre, it would seem, who then are taking the goods out to the rest of the city. So this is working very well. A fantastic replacement for generic industry, because it does the same thing. It brings in and provides commercial goods for all of the stores and commercial activity in the city. So we're very happy with this and how it works. Also delighted with how the ore industry turned out, and the schools that we put down in Oakerton I think are fantastic as well. So if you think so too, please like the video. If you do like it, take the time to leave me a comment and let me know what it was you liked about it. If you've done all of that, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything that we do here. That being said, thank you very much for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care and goodbye.